UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
And welcome into UNPAVED. I'm Sean Salisbury. Adam Sager, bring him in now as well. Adam G. Sager on Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered. Sags, it's off season, but it's never off season in football. A lot going on as all the pomp and circumstance from the Super Bowl starts to settle, and the fact that Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker decided to celebrate with their family was shocking to somebody on national TV. Is baffling to me. Then you jump into, you got to make sure you're lit, Sags. You got to make sure you're lit. You know what I'm saying? You got to be lit.
Gotta be lit.
You got to be lit, and you got to be turned. Okay.
Yeah, you won the Super Bowl. You got to be lit, Sean.
If you want to celebrate with your family, it's shocking because I don't understand. But if you ain't turned and lit, then you don't get it. Welcome in. Good to be with you guys today. Segs, the Raiders have a new coach, and I know you got some questions to fire out, but. He's had quite a few jobs, as most assistants have, in Klint Kubiak. And I don't know if he's going to save the Raiders. I don't. I don't. He's got great DNA. The bloodlines are sharp. Yep. He looks exactly like his pops, and coaches like him too. Probably a little bit more aggressive than his dad was as a coach, to be honest with you. And I may not be fair to Gary. Gary's my era, and I love him. Gentleman, stud. The hell of a good player, hell of a good coach at all levels, coordinator, quarterback coach, head coach. And Klint obviously has been, I'm sure, sitting on his pop's lap from the time his dad was talking tape or talking football. And here he is now. His resume, you see all the different places that he's been. I don't look at that as a negative. I look at it as a positive of continuing to be in opportunities to learn about positions, to learn about coordinating, to be around different systems that you're going into and what you're going to add to it. Normally, when you see that, if it was in nowadays, the last 20 years, Segs, you'd say this is par for the course in every damn job in the world. Right. It's not like when your pops is a cop for 40 years and my dad's working for the city for 35 years or working construction or somebody's on an assembly line pumping out 50 years and retiring the same place they start. Those days don't exist. If you can milk 3 out of somebody, you're a miracle worker. In the NFL, though, this is always in my place. Now, if you're a head coach and you get fired year after year, we probably have a problem. But as you're moving your way through the time you started young and are now the head coach of a franchise that is reeling, that is dysfunctional, that lacks leadership, that's no disrespect to Brady, or maybe should I say how to use that leadership to properly put a team together. They've got money. They need a quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of needs. But adding Klint Kubiak to it, a very calm. He's seen his pops go through a lot of stuff. He's wearing a Super Bowl ring, so that brings some, he's here, and that's important. We said it, Segs, a week and a half ago. The longer it takes, the more Klint Kubiak's going to be the Raiders coach, and here we are as the head coach, waiting on him. I think it's a solid hire, I do. To some, I mean, it fits the bill, yet you're not getting the same buzz maybe you'd get from, they just hired Sean McVay's assistant, right? Well, Klint Kubiak, run game. He wants to run it, wants to be physical, then mix in play action and do the things that his dad did, as well as what he's seen through the Shanahan system and all that. But I think I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on the buzz. Maybe it's the Raider buzz, but Klint Kubiak, solid, Segs, and he's seen a lot of football, coached a lot of football, coached a lot of players, coached a lot of average teams, and coached some good ones. And he's now wearing a Super Bowl ring. To me, the resume says a lot of stops. You can use it one way or the other. I look at it as experience working his way to this job. Others may look at it as, well, he moved around a lot. In this business, that resume there would be small for most guys that have been in it a while. It would be. I'm talking about where they've been, different spots, right, from some East Coast Division II school to, to Carroll University, to Bowling Green, to Cal, to USC, back to an NFL team, to a GA job, back to an NFL job, to a offensive coordinator, all those different things that happen as a coach. But it's only a negative if that guy right there turns it into one. To me, I would imagine he's cherry picked in the right way, as they have from him, the good stuff. And I'm quite sure he probably leans on his pops for direction too. As a lifelong Raider guy, is it Madden? Is it Tom Flores? Right now, we don't know. But I do know this. He gives you, it feels like he's older, Segs.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm getting a guy in his 50s or 60s that has a lot of experience but looks younger. With him, you're getting a guy who's got some experience but isn't to the point where he's on his last gig. He's on his first one. I think it's a wise hire and a guy that will instill. They got the back to work with. They've got some assets that they can either ship off and go get more picks, but they have money to be active in free agency, Segs. You don't have far to go to improve for this damn team. As a guy who bleeds silver and black, if it's not college colors and cardinal and gold, I'm all in on this. And I think it was worth the wait. It feels like a little bit of Brady stamp on this as well, more so than anybody else in the organization. Just my opinion. But I think his history of knowing what's going on and watching him deal with Sam, I think he probably feels he can do the same way with if Mendoza is the pick or somebody else.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting follow this offseason, how the Raiders operate. They're in this AFC West with the Chiefs, who I think will bounce back. It's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes and company. They'll bounce back. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year. The Chargers, we think, will only get better under another year of Jim Harbaugh. Get your offensive tackles back. Get healthy. Justin Herbert under Mike McDaniel and company, I think, can take another step. They made the playoffs despite all that happening this year. And then, of course, you have the Denver Broncos, who were the #1 seed, lost Bo Nix right before the AFC Championship game, could have went to the Super Bowl if they had him. I think the Raiders have some decisions to make in terms of how they want to move forward quickly. Is it something where you think, okay, we're going to keep Max Crosby, we're going to try and build through free agency, we're going to go get Fernando Mendoza #1, and we're going to try and, with Ashton Jeanty, with Brock Bowers and company, we think we can turn it around quickly? Or if you're Klint Kubiak, do you say, let's take a beat. Let's trade a Max Crosby, get another first-round pick this year, a future first-round pick. Let's not just spend all our cap space. Let's, trade what we can, gather picks, get young players in free agency that we think can not only help us this year, but 3-4 years down the road, we think they can still be a part of the next Raiders winning team. So I say both of those because I want to ask you, as a Raiders fan, which would you prefer? Would you prefer kind of slowing down, trading Max Crosby, trading pieces that you think can help others and get you draft capital? Or do you say, hey, we've got anywhere from $90 to $110 million in free agency. We got the #1 pick. Let's go ahead and let's roll and see what we can do quickly.
Segs, there's a couple things about this. If I'm the coach, I don't think I can think long term. I don't. Now you may get a blowback from the front office or from how they want to do it. But if they go 7-10 and 8-9 and 8-9 and don't make the playoffs, is that guy right there going to have his job in 3 years? That answer is no. And you and I both know it, right? They'll tell you it's a 5-year plan or a long-term plan, but inevitably, if you're not making major improvement, it won't be. Okay.
Especially with that owner.
That's exactly right. So that's one, looking from the coach stand. As a fan, and Segs, if I'm the general manager, I'm looking at it as a Raider. If I'm in the Raider organization now, I always question. Now, I understand why you trade a really good player. You try to find somebody like him that's cheaper on their rookie contract. It's not easy. Replacing Max Crosby's like saying, hey, man, I think we'll go out and get somebody for TJ Watt. I think we can go replace Joe Burrow at his position. He's that guy. He's a dog, and he's a dude, however you describe those type of football playing Jesse. I hate, and I know it has to happen sometimes, but I hate getting rid of my best player and turning right around and having to go find somebody to replace my best player. And if it takes 3 years and I haven't made the playoffs, then I'm fired for getting rid of my best player. I get it. What I do, you obviously put it out there and find out what the highest bidders. If you said I'm giving you 1 first-round draft pick for Max Crosby, I'm not taking it. I'll manipulate and move the salary cap around to make it work. So my initial, as a fan, and if I was a Raider and a coach, most of them lean to keeping Max Crosby because he's a dude on my team and I need him to continue to upgrade this defense, which is how the Raiders been built in the past, and knocking the shit out of you. So that attitude. But the other side of it that I'd have to weigh, the urgent and 3 years down the road, both plans of, are we better if we get a 1 and a 2 and a player, whatever it is we can get for Max Crosby, is saying, let's get in cheaper. Hopefully we can find somebody in the draft and then, find some players in the draft that can come in 2 for the price of 1 and get some production from it. You're not winning a Super Bowl just with Max Crosby, but I got news for you. You're not winning it with a bunch of guys that are 5 steps below Max Crosby either. Segs, I'm leaning towards one other way, and we can move on from this. It's something that's going to be great to talk about during this offseason.
Yep.
Are you sure? And I watched him, and I was so impressed with his college play. Are we sure that Fernando Mendoza is a franchise-changing quarterback? Because after 1 year, if he's not, playing 1 year in college, he's not. And a Raider, they're 180 degrees from that Raider mystique. He's the clean, and that's okay. Raider mystique is guy, spit and chew while he's playing. Right. Kenny Stabler. That's how most Raider fans think. The question more than Max Crosby for me is, instead of trading Max Crosby, staple for our team, Genty. We've got some perimeter people. We're starting to build this. Have a thought about maybe you move the first. If you think that the second quarterback in there, or if you can go out and trade for somebody and think that that guy can hold you down, that you get 2 first rounders and another pick that you move out of the first slot, what's more valuable to you? Hoping on Mendoza or knowing on Crosby? And who's gonna net you more when all's said and done? I think that's what you have to ask. Something that I'm still mulling over, Segs. I'm not. Yeah. I don't know. But while I loved him as a college player and I think he's really good, I haven't seen him face a whole lot of getting his ass kicked in college. I'm talking about at Indiana, meaning Mendoza. So well coached and brings great attitude, accuracy, everything. But is he Elway? If you're picking him first, you're telling me he's Elway. That's who you're telling me he is. He's Manning. Is he? And if he's not, I'd be leaning towards getting out of the first spot, getting more players there, keeping Max Crosby, looking to see if I can move things around. You can always ask Max to readjust, even though it's fairly new, move money around where he ends up getting more and manipulate it. I'm not sure if it's Max go or trade that first pick if you're not sure Mendoza's a franchise-changing quarterback. And if he isn't, if you got too many ifs, if there's more ifs than there is answers at the top, you cannot draft a quarterback first if there's ifs that surround his name. You just can't. That's something they got to look at. I'm glad Kubiak got hired.
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely an interesting discussion as this offseason rolls on. And I think it's something that we saw the Bears do a few years ago. They traded that first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers, who moved up from, pick 9 all the way up to 1. And what did the Bears do? They turned around. They got the number 1 pick again, got Caleb Williams. They got DJ Moore. They got Darnell Wright. They got multiple players out of this, including just a pick last year. So you can really turn that number 1 pick into a treasure trove of assets that you have moving forward. And it is something to see how the Raiders and company with Klint Kubiak. Do you like the fit of Fernando Mendoza in Kubiak's system?
Yeah, I think why, Segs? Because it's not so quarterback. It's friendly to other positions, meaning Well, Darnold, you saw he did. I mean, he had to make some throws, and they threw it a handful of times. But you know what they want to do first? They're going to run it.
Yep.
They're going to mix in play action. They're not going to get real cute. And so, do I think he fits in? Listen, to me, if you're picked first, Segs, here's the way I look at it to answer your question. If I'm picking you first, you damn well better be able to fit in any system. I'm not talking about the triple option. We don't run that in the NFL. You get my point. If you're accurate and you got big balls that you can stand there and deliver and you're a leader, I'll fit you into any system. A curl's a curl, a flat's a flat. It's your comfort level in the verbiage and all that. So, yes, I do, but there may be somebody else. And next year's class is better at quarterback. You've got to be unequivocally, no questions asked, that you think Mendoza is it, because it can set your franchise back further than hiring a coach for 1 year and firing him can. A first-pick quarterback. So that's something. And Segs, what's wrong with surviving with somebody out there that may be a free agent and positioning yourself to grow and build around, and then the next time a rookie like Caleb comes in, the roster's set. That we built this, we can struggle for a year to get our shit right after that. So this is a quick turnaround as opposed to a 4-year. I don't think head coaches have 4 years to turn it around unless they've been successful already. Then they went through a losing streak and have to get it back. Maybe like Kansas City feels like they got to do after one bad year. Right. The Raiders have no place to go but up. And I'll be patient with you for a year. I just won't for 4. So if you get rid of your good players, and by the time you build it, it'll be somebody else's deal, kind of like the transfer portal.
Yeah, very good point. All right, before we get to the Hall of Fame voting and what Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison had to say, Randy Moss had to say on the Hall of Fame / MVP voting, tell me about Augusta Precious Metals.
Yeah, we go into grocery stores and pull up at gas stations. I know a lot of places the prices have gone down, but overall, when you go grocery shopping, it's expensive. Get the same groceries, same bills, happening for years now. It's just not happening overnight. It's been happening for years. And you start to ask yourself, how high is this going to go? Kind of like salaries, kind of like NIL. You're saying, how much more can sanity be insane before it's sane again? And that's what it is with grocery prices. You guys know it. Did you go to Super Bowl party? Did you shop for your Super Bowl party and walk out of there saying, man, I had 2 bags. It was $350. Well, if you did, that's not stopping right now, and that's what really worries me about retirement. You can do the same thing. The dollar's value goes down. Gold and silver continues to rise. Precious metals, Augusta Precious Metals, is the best place to inform you intelligently and teach you and educate you. But if the prices of groceries keep going up, but you have the same balance in your account, because I guarantee your salary ain't rising as fast as the rest of the world's bills are, and including groceries. So the same balance, this goes up, what happens? This balance is actually dropping, even though it's the same in its value. Precious metals, gold and silver, are not. They continue to rise. Don't be late. Diversify that portfolio. That's what a lot of real retirement people who understand wealth or understand how to preserve confidence and security in retirement understand that they're diversifying into gold and silver. I got into it late, but I'm not too late to the party to continue in the future. Got in a little late, but you know what? As it continues to rise, now's the time. Go educate yourself at SeanBuysGold.com. Protect what you've already earned. We're not chasing returns. If you're chasing returns, it's like chasing money at a gambling table. Oh, I'm behind 200. And before you know, you're like, what the heck? But silver and gold, precious metals, tangible assets isn't chasing. It's preserving what's yours and what you've already earned. I looked into it. Precious metals, Augusta Precious Metals stood out. No pressure, no scare tactics, just straight education. And I think that's important for all of us. And remember, this stays inside your IRA or your 401k, no taxes, no penalties. Go get that gold IRA guide. It's free at SeanBuysGold.com, SeanBuysGold.com, or text Sean to 35052. Protecting your position in this economy is how you stay in the game, and it's everything, including peace of mind, confidence, security. And if you don't have those, everything else suffers. It starts there, and it starts with educating yourself at Augusta Precious Metals and SeanBuysGold.com.
All right, Sean, a hot topic has been this Hall of Fame voting with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft being left off. We talked about the inductees last Friday as they were announced last Thursday night at the NFL Honors Awards. Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison were on Alcatraz Island. NBC had them out there. They're in San Francisco, so they first time being on Alcatraz Island there, doing a show from there. But they got onto this topic, and Tony Dungy, talked about the fact, he said he wasn't going to disclose which way he voted when it comes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he says he's upset with the process and it's not on the voters. But Rodney Harrison, former Patriot, former, Robert Kraft employee, former player for Bill Belichick, was upset. You could tell by this whole thing. And here's the video so you can react coming out of how Rodney Harrison reacted to Tony Dungy.
That doesn't include Bill Belichick at the top is absolutely wrong. And a lot of those players that we mentioned, they're great players. I played with Drew Brees. I played with Adam Vinatieri. But there's nobody more deserving to be in that Hall of Fame than Coach Belichick. I've seen his greatness. I've seen him design defenses to stop your offense. And you just look at the players that he's impacted. He's been unbelievable. And when I look out throughout the Hall of Fame, and even a guy like Tom Brady wouldn't be Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. And that's the disappointing part of it, Coach, and you guys got it wrong.
He's spot on. Listen, there's always this thing, and both of those guys, Rodney Harrison is one of my best teammates ever and a dear friend, and he's opinionated, but Rodney talks like you would talk to your teammates as a player. What we talk about in the locker room is exactly what this dude's giving you. Real, raw, probably had to, and Rodney's a God-fearing man, probably had to wishes he was on a podcast so he could have really unloaded.
Yeah.
And the guy he's talking to, Tony Dungy, our defensive coordinator, I respect him as much as any man I've ever been around in football. And we had great conversations when he was with us in Minnesota. Tremendous human being. Affinity and affection for both. But we get this feeling that if somebody is somebody that's always kind, even though Tony's opinionated, kind, and goes about it, we're not allowed to call him out. This is exactly right. This isn't disrespectful. This is Rodney Harrison basically looking through Tony Dungy to everybody involved, saying you guys got it wrong. And he's including Coach Dungy regardless, because we don't know how he voted, right?
He wouldn't tell us.
We don't know, exactly, which is a point of contention for some to put your name on it. But Rodney, with all the respect he has, played defense. I think Rodney Harrison's a borderline Hall of Famer. He was a teammate of mine in San Diego, and I'm telling you, nobody practiced harder. This dude went about his business just like he does here. Honest, unfiltered, and quite frankly, unpaved. If you were moving, he was hitting you. And he did the same thing here. It's a moving target when it comes up to Hall of Fame voters. Rodney didn't miss this one bit. He was calm, and bam, a punch straight to the face to the Hall of Fame voters. And he's right. Tony and the group got it wrong, regardless of they voted for. The overall package, the umbrella of this, got it wrong. And I've told you, Segs, a million times. Pick your three best people from every major sport: hockey, football, basketball, and baseball. Just talk about those four. And go through your top three. Say, okay, guys that are no-brainer first ballot Hall of Famers. Guess who's one of them? Bill Belichick. He is to coaching, and that part of it, regardless whether you like him or not, just what he did, his impact and production, is to coaching what Peyton Manning is to quarterbacking, what Tom Brady brought, what Wayne Gretzky and Don Cherry brought to their sport, right? Or what he just is. And whether you like it or not, he's Jack Nicklaus to Tiger Woods. He's Tiger Woods to Jack Nicklaus. That's who Belichick is. And any Hall of Fame without him on the first ballot, he'll get in, is shameful. It's a sledgehammer to the head. It's an embarrassment to the voters. And it's an ego grudge problem more than anything, because there's nobody in their right frame of mind that looks at you and says, you know what, man? You know what, Segs? I don't think that that Joe Montana is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because now I've given you the second guy. Even if you don't think Belichick's first, and it's Don Shula. I gave you money if you think Brady's first and Montana's second. I'm still giving you the team picture. And with Belichick in it, the team picture sucks ass. And it's an indictment. And unfortunately for guys that are in there, but those guys that are in there will tell you Belichick deserves to be in. It cheapened the Hall of Fame by not putting him in the first ballot. And it sure as hell questioned the voters. And watch, the rules are going to change this offseason. You watch what happens. They're going to change, and it'll be because a few loud voices said, no. This is bullshit. No disrespect to Tony Dungy, because he's not a cussing guy, and I love him. Rodney Harrison is spot on. And if we're going back and forth who won that battle, Harrison won, Hall of Fame voters none.
And I just don't understand when, Tony Dungy says he's upset with the process and it's not the voters' fault.
Then whose fault is it?
How?
So then explain to me. Explain. What does that
there
mean?
Was one person, holding everybody hostage saying you cannot vote for this guy, or we can't have the 40 people or whatever it takes to vote for Bill Belichick. We must make sure we're at 38 or 39 or just under that number. How is it not the voters' fault? It's your guys' job to be in there, giving your case for each guy that is up for the Hall of Fame. Someone gave the case for Bill Belichick, and then somebody named Bill Polian stood up and basically said, no, we can't vote this guy in, and enough people listened to him. How is it not the voters' fault?
Who was Tony Dungy's GM?
Bill Polian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do have this to ask.
And who kept Tony Dungy from winning multiple Super Bowls with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis?
Probably the same guy.
Bill Belichick.
Bill Polian. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about who kept it for But you're talking about who kept Bill Polian
and Bill Belichick.
And of those three guys, who's in the Hall of Fame? Dungy, Polian, not Bill Belichick. Oh, and Manning's in too, correct?
Yep.
All right. So just a side note about how this goes. And I'm trying to figure out, because I don't know. I'm not a Hall of Fame voter.
Nope.
I could do a better job than some of them did. Simple. Because this is, but then again, all of us could, all our listeners and viewers and comments, because guess what? This is where you put your grudge and ego aside and just say, were you better than me? And the answer is yes. Did you dominate your sport, your area? Yes, he dominated, and it's unequivocal. Can't argue. It's inarguable is my point.
Yes.
You can't argue it. You just can't. And you could try, and I respect your opinion, but I don't have to value the shit when you talk it on your opinion. Not you, but anybody. It's just like, I don't have to value mine, but I'm just telling you, you got more respect for the guy that voted for him than the one who did. It doesn't take it takes stupidity not to vote for him, but not balls and not doing your homework. Segs, it's simple to me that I don't know that protocol. Tell me, okay, if it's the system. No. Put it this way. Let's put Tony Dungy against Bill Belichick. Comes down to those two. Dude, like I said, there's not three people in this business I respect more than Tony. I love him. But I'm just pointing out, Bill Belichick, Tony Dungy. How many years was Tony eligible before he got in? I don't know that answer off the top of my head. And Belichick will get in. But if we go resume, whose resume is better? If Tony if it came down to these last two on the last vote to get in, who misses out on the Hall of Fame? Dungy does, and Belichick gets in, correct? That's the number one. If you're a Hall of Famer and you say, would that guy go in before me? He was on his third, Segs?
Third
year.
He
said third, okay. And I'm not comparing those two. I'm just comparing what a Hall of Fame is supposed to look like. Tony belongs in the Hall of Fame. But if I said to you that we're putting it came down to who's more, this is the last time either one of you are getting in, not the first time, but the last. Is there anybody who would have taken one guy's career over the next when it comes to coaching production, even though both were spectacular? The answer is no. If you didn't, then you didn't look at the numbers, right? Yeah. That's right. Like saying that's like saying you take a guy who had 3,000 hits over Pete Rose, who had 4,500 or 4,300 of them, and say he was a better singles hitter. No, he wasn't. Pete Rose hit 3,000 of them. Okay, when it came to singles alone. So for me, Segs, it just, to me, and I'm not blaming this on Tony, the whole thing, but okay, if it's not your fault, it's like I vote for the MVP. If I vote for the MVP, I got one of 50 votes. This is just, the MVP is just, it's the same as the Hall of Fame. It's just not on steroids like the Hall of Fame, and it's, boy, exclusive. But being the MVP is pretty damn exclusive. You don't get to win a lot of them. So if you vote for the MVP, there's only 50 of them. Is that the system's fault? There's only 50, but you do have a vote. You write down the names, right? So it's pretty easy. And that's what they do in the Hall of Fame. They got a name, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. Those are my guys. I'm in.
Yep.
So regardless of whatever's going on behind the scenes, the system, good argument. But in this case, it's one simple question. Did you vote for Bill Belichick? And if not, why? And why is Bill Belichick not even on his first ballot? And if you can give me a legitimate answer, I'll listen. But you know what? You can't. And that's why they're all skirting it.
Well, another Hall of Famer spoke on this, and that's Randy Moss. Here's what Randy Moss had to say about the Hall of Fame voting this past week before the Super Bowl.
That I'll say, I'm not going to really sit up here and just sit up here and just badmouth the Hall, because there's some guys that just got selected to this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame that I do not want to take the light from. But one thing about not electing Robert Kraft, not electing Bill Belichick, the one thing that I would talk to all the voters going forward, I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. But I really believe as a football player, if you didn't play it, if you didn't coach it, you shouldn't have a vote. I don't care who you are, and I don't care how you feel about it. But like I said, I don't want to take no shine away from the guys elected today, and that's it for me.
Yeah,
I get it. And first of all, when you look at this Hall of Fame class, that's the sad part. We're talking more about a guy who should have been in first ballot and joined these guys than we're talking about the Luke Kuechly's and the guys who actually deserve us to talk about them, because we're taking it away. And you've noticed Belichick stays away from it. He's not putting shine. He's not taking the shine. Randy's exactly right. Opinion, get out, boom, move on. But the story here is the guys that are in, this is one of the best, classiest. There's not one guy in there saying, "Are you sure?" No, this was a great class, but it would have been greater if the dude who's coaching New England would have been in. And I'm sure all 5 of those cats would have said, "This is a great class because I get in with him." Yeah, pretty good. Randy's right. You don't want to take the shine away, but I don't know if I'm not one of those guys that says you take it out of all writers' hands or broadcasters. See, to me, a guy like Aikman, Joe Buck, Al Michaels should have a vote. They watch games every. You should have and a guy like Al Michaels, and maybe Al does, I don't know, but Al Michaels has been doing this. He's seen every great player in every position. Who better to judge it than him? He's seen generation from the 60s, 70s, I mean, all the way through. Randy's right, but you can't just be handing them away like they're disposable fucking votes. And I think we're getting to the point where let's hand them this. I see Heisman voters.
I was going to say the Heisman is the one that's really bad.
I see Heisman voters, and I don't mean this, and I'm not going to put a name on it because I respect anybody who's put the grind in, but I look at some and I say, how the fuck does this person have a Heisman vote? Yeah. I just do. How? And that person does it. Same way at the Hall of Fame. To me, if you've covered a lot of football, I will consider it, but they need to be vetted as difficult. The voters need to be vetted just as harshly as we vet the guys who are going in that are voting. It's valuable and that important. There's less than 400 of them ever in this game. So treat it as if it matters. Ego and pride. If you got ego and pride or grudge in this, you cannot vote. This is not the way it's supposed to be. So what, if the guy kissed your ass your whole career, you'll put him in first, but if he doesn't, he can't go in first? No, it's not the way it works. And it drives me friggin' crazy. We don't vet him enough. But I do look and I say, I'd like to know why that person's, him or her, is more qualified than this guy to vote on this Hall of Fame. Because they watched some highlights?
Right.
Yeah, no. And I can tell you this, some of those on there that you look around and say, ugh. And you wonder, do they cover it? I haven't seen that. Oh, they still got to vote. And at some point in time, you have a fastball anymore. It's time to give the vote up and give it to somebody who does. Just like you do when you're forced out of retirement. Yes, because you can't play anymore. The 25-year-old's faster than you, so he's running anchor on the 4x100. You ain't anymore. You may be only 32, but guess what? If you ain't Usain Bolt, somebody else going to run by it. Same in sports. If you lose your fastball as a voter, get the fuck out and move aside for the next cat. That's why CEOs give it up to the next guy in charge, because it's time for the people who own stock and for your board meetings. It's time to get a new voice in there that's watching them all, not one who's living on his golden parachute. Get their ass out.
I think if you want to do like 50 votes, let's say let's say that's what the Hall of Fame wants. We want 50 voters, and you got to get this, number to fine, whatever. But it should be, okay, let's go the last 40 Hall of Famers if they want the vote. If they don't want it, they can say, no, I'm good. I don't want to vote on it. And then you go to the next guy. And then if those guys all want it, you just continue. And then eventually you lose your vote after so many years. And then you have 10 guys, like you mentioned, Al Michaels, guys like Chris Mortensen that had been around the game forever. Guys like that I think you should have.
Schefter covers the game, and he may have a vote. I don't know.
10 of those. You have 10 of those. So you have 40 ex-players that are Hall of Famers, and then you have 10 media / if you want to throw in like a Bill Polian or something like that, fine. But 40 and 10, and then boom, and then you can back out of it if you want. You don't have to do it every year, or you can keep it for 10 years. Or whatever, and you lose it.
What happens if somebody got sick during the off season, but still alive, but just didn't watch as much football because they had, the surgery, they got back surgery, and they got to a year off from it, or
they get into college coaching and they can't watch the NFL, whatever it is.
Right, because I want to vet the voters, even if it's a Hall of Fame. I don't care, Troy Aikman. I want to vet him and make sure. I know he watches, but if Troy wasn't, or somebody who's not watching, I know a bunch of them, dude, that are great players that don't watch Sunday football anymore. They don't like the new brand of football. So you get them on to interview them, and it's got to be about life because you talk about football. They don't know. It's not because they're not smart. They just don't watch. And I see more and more of that every single year, that a lot of guys that, unless you're in the media, they're not watching. And they were a former player. They're just burned out by it, right?
Yeah.
So you bet them every year. And if after 2 years you don't like the way it's going, or they got a little older, hell, you can't get your Social Security until a certain age. Why the hell should I let you vote past an age if you've lost your fastball? Unless you could throw a knuckleball for a strike on a regular basis. So for me,
the game changes.
That's exactly. And if you're not willing to change and adapt with it without losing your moral values or whatever those values are as a Hall of Fame voter, great, you can continue on. But like in anything, you got to go get a driver's license every so many years, right, Segs, to make sure your eyes are good. So whatever it is in your state, why don't we put it, okay, every 5 years, got to requalify. They put you through an interview process, and we got to go, and you may get replaced by this guy. We do that in life. Why is it a lifetime achievement to, you got a Hall of Fame vote 40 years ago, but you ain't watched in 20, and you just hearing names? Oh, I got this. This guy looks good. This guy. Nah, that ain't the way it works. So whatever the vetting process is, it's not good enough for the Hall of Fame voters. And yet the Dave Bakers and those guys that have done the Hall of Fame for years are phenomenal. The whole picture here is one guy got jobbed on his first entry, but even more importantly, the 5 guys who got in are getting hosed because most people aren't even talking about them.
Yeah. Yep. It's something that we'll have to see if they change over the course of this offseason before the next class is announced, before the next class is voted on. We'll see if they make any changes. We were talking about the Raiders earlier. Former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr has kind of put out there that he could unretire and come back to the NFL if it's the right situation with the right coaching staff. Now, does that, who fits that criteria? I'm not quite sure, because you're not going to want to come back to, say, the Jets, or I don't know if you want to come back to, say, Miami if Tua were to leave. But, if a good team is looking for a quarterback, would you be interested in Derek Carr, who hasn't played in a couple seasons with injuries and stuff like that?
He's more than serviceable, but less than dominant. Does that make sense, Segs?
Yeah.
That before he was, when he was in New Orleans, he was still putting up some pretty good numbers. Yeah. He really was. So, and he's always been a guy who put up numbers. You go back to his best year ever when he had his team in the playoffs, and then Connor Cook had to play because he broke his leg, and then they got beat by the Texans.
Yep.
And you realize then, it was Jack Del Rio's team when Jack was the head coach there, is that you realize then how valuable Carr was to the team that year and how tough it was to throw in a young quarterback who not played much. And he saw, kind of like we saw this past weekend, it was a little overwhelmed, right? And Connor Cook was in that game in particular. It doesn't mean he couldn't have got better. But with Carr, Segs, when he retired, I didn't think it was permanent. I'm not saying it because of this. I didn't. I've had conversations saying, you know what? This feels like one of those get healthy, revisit where you are, where you are mentally, as far as, do you still love to play? Because to a man, and I've talked to people that have coached him, that he's passionate, he's going to work his ass off and go. The question is, sometimes when you're getting hit late in the game, you can question product on the field at times and under duress like you can any player, but you can't question his love, if he's passionate, a God-fearing guy who's a faith-based guy and all that. But I thought he walked away too soon, but it's not mine to judge. He felt like he was done. I didn't think it was permanent. Now, when I say that, it's like, well, if he comes back, but after you get to about 3 or 4 years retired, it's time. We've seen it. But he's not removed enough yet to forget what it's all about, come back healthier and refreshed. Are you asking me if he's better than the bottom 5 quarterbacks in the league as we sit right now that are starters? Yes, I'm telling you he is. But I don't, does he come back recommitted? I love this. We see it all the time. Guys, usually it's a guy getting cut and then he's gone for 2 years and comes back. Carr made a lot of money, and he's going to have to make some changes because he's not worth $40 million. If he were to come back and start with a holdover for $25 million or $20 million, yeah, I'd come out of retirement for that too, Segs, although I'm not getting paid that, but if I was him. Right. So if he's mentally ready, yeah, I could see somebody coming back and saying, the guy can throw for me 35 to 4,000 yards and get me some wins. I can see it. Whether he's all in or not, who knows? But At that position, when you've removed yourself, Segs, if you're not all in, you'll get your ass handed to you, destroyed. So if he's all in and ready to go, I don't question his commitment. I do question, if you're asking me if he's a top 10 player in the league, if he comes back in 2 years, the answer is no. But he's good enough to start for somebody given the right opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of a scenario or a situation in the league right now that makes sense that, okay, this is the one that he could be looking at and saying, yeah, bring me in. I'll compete. I'll win the job. And I think I can, lead you guys to a good
season for
a playoff spot.
Already have one for you. Didn't mean to interrupt.
I think it's the same one as mine.
To back up with the Minnesota Vikings waiting on an opportunity to play with McCarthy. You got a veteran. You got a guy who's played a high caliber of football, who, if he comes back healthy, and if he doesn't start, and he won't start right off, of course, it'll be McCarthy. Imagine if you had 2 or 3 wins in you like a couple of these teams did to make the playoffs. He's got wins in him as a backup, valuable with his mental, understands the game. That's the perfect place. No Daniel Jones, no Sam Darnold. They need a solid backup, veteran backup that's got game. Pay him $10 million, have it a play a year, a 1-year contract, see how it works and see what it does. And maybe he has some Sam Darnold fortune moving forward, even though his career has been better than Darnold's other than the Super Bowl because he's been in it longer. Minnesota's the perfect place. Need a veteran. He's not going to have an ego that forces the guy in front of him where he treats him like an asshole. And McCarthy can learn a lot from him. And if McCarthy doesn't play well, you got a guy that can with minimal snaps in practice.
Let me throw one more at you real quick before we move on. Daniel Jones suffered his Achilles, I think, week 13 or 14. The Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson's not the guy. Could you see them bring him in as a veteran that, can hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor a lot, hopefully get you a lot of yards running the ball, and then he can fill in as needed with that offense?
Segs, think about this. Let's just say, yes, I can, because you're not going to ask him to carry a team. You've got a pretty good team, obviously. At least the first month and a half of the season, we thought a really good team. You get a guy that actually can provide you what Daniel Jones provided while he sits and watches because he's recovering. And maybe it's one of those, he goes and plays great, whether Jones comes back or not. And then he becomes like Jones has done. And then you find yourself playing and starting for somebody the year after. There's no doubt, because if you're Carr, you're coming back, you'd like to get paid, but you're coming back for one to go to a team that's got a chance. Both of those got good players. You're coming back to a team that you can start or be a solid backup in position, like in Daniel Jones, to start from training camp, but to get the opportunity to compete. Both of those would be wise. And quite frankly, there's going to be some free agents right now that are coming out that I'd actually trust Carr, a healthy Derek Carr, more than I would a free agent that thinks he can still play. Yeah. So yes, both of those give you not only good coaching, but they also give you a chance that you may very well play.
Yeah, one free agent quarterback that, according to some reports, are saying it's increasing that he will return to where he was. That's Aaron Rodgers heading back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, Mike McCarthy, his former Packers coach, is now the head coach there in Pittsburgh. Do you like Aaron Rodgers coming back, or is this something where Mike McCarthy needs to stand up or get in a room with Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, if you're coming back, great. I want you to be my quarterback, but I can't have this back and forth stuff, will he, won't he, through June. And then boom, July 1st, you're like, yeah, I'm ready, coach. I don't need that. I need you to say you're coming back now, or I'm moving on and we're going somewhere else.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's got a deadline that ends in March or whatever. For me, if I'm Mike McCarthy, as much as you love him and the history, two things. I would have said Aaron Rodgers is retiring, and that there's only 1 or 2 scenarios I could see him coming back. If Tomlin would have stayed, I possibly could have seen it because of his respect for Mike and say, let's do this one more time. Yeah. And a guy like Mike McCarthy, who he's won a championship with, but also the familiarity where he doesn't have to spend a whole off season impressing some new coach and fly and shake his hand.
Right.
I actually think that Rodgers would come back and play in Pittsburgh. So I'm now backed off and think that, I'm never going to backtrack, but backed off thinking this is a scenario, because comfort and familiarity matters to, especially when you're 42 and you know it's going to be a grind to get yourself right, to come back under what Mike's doing. And Mike obviously would trust him because he's seen him at his best. And obviously over the last few years, seen him when he hadn't been his best. So I do. But one thing is, Aaron Rodgers doesn't dictate it now. I'm not so reliant upon him if I'm Pittsburgh that without him, we can't move forward. You get that taken care of in March. So if you have to move forward in April, you can. Now, for Pittsburgh, what else is out there? There's not a whole lot of options you can go visit. They're going to turn you into a playoff team overnight if you get rid of Rodgers and go. Tua, I don't think Tua wants this cold on a regular basis. So, the Jets, and maybe if you use it, but that's a lot of money to give up for a guy you don't know if he can, if he's a Pittsburgh type guy. Go back to Rodgers, get the deal, get him to commit, but he can't toy with me. One day of toying, and I say, I love you as a friend, brother, and you were a great player for me. We are moving on. And you can't waffle from that, because this has to be settled immediately, where he comes back and says, yes, you don't get to go to one of your camps and do all the stuff. Much respect for Rodgers, but respect, yes, but I'm not holding my franchise hostage for you to wait 4 more months. A June decision's too late. We will not have space for you past March. We're knowing this before the draft. And if not, you take this into late April. By the time April hits, you're done. I'll give you in the beginning to middle of March. It shouldn't take that long. You're either in or you're not. Your body's recovering. You weren't a playoff team. But you were, but you got beat the first game. It's time to make a decision. And if you don't know, that tells me you're not all in, and it's easy for me to move on. The more hesitant he is, the easier it is for me to move on. If he's all in, give me Aaron Rodgers. He'll be the best available player for that position in Pittsburgh this offseason.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Rodgers returns with Mike McCarthy. Switching over to the college game, North Dakota State has announced that they will join the Big West, the Mountain West. I was like a Big West back in the day. Mountain West just for football. So they now become a Division I program. Do you like this move for North Dakota State, or did you like the fact that it was North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana, all these good FCS schools that would fight it out at the end of the year? Or do you think North Dakota State was ready to make them jump to Division I?
Time. We see James Madison been doing their thing every year, jumps, and you could make the argument that this has had longer sustained success over the last. They've been great. So it is time. Segs, I like the fact that they're challenging themselves. Well, they're paying about $12 million a year in the conference or something. I think it says it up there. Yeah. I do like it. And I don't want to take away from FCS. You still got some great teams. There's constantly really good teams, but you got to challenge yourself and move up. You don't want to play down. You want to play up. And they've been a dominant performer in the FCS for a long time. It's time for them to go Division I. I'm going to tell you this. I'll take it one step further. They'll win the Mountain West. They'll win. They'll win in their conference. They'll win it. They'll be in position to win their conference in the next 2 or 3 years. They're going to be. They're good enough. They're not coming in as some meek and submissive. What's going to happen? They'll go in there and they will compete immediately, because there's going to be guys on that team that other teams that they could start on other teams, and there's going to be teams in that Mountain West that couldn't start on their team, depending on the position. This is a definite move, and I'm just telling you right now, they will be competitive sooner than later. This isn't some who shot John operation that doesn't understand football. The culture will travel, the competition will travel, and they've been plenty battle tested. It's time. They're not finishing in last place in their conference. They can beat a lot of teams.
Yeah, they'll be a fun team to watch at the Division I level. Another topic, linebacker, and I may botch this name, but Solomon Tuliaupupu received waivers from the NCAA to come back in 2026. He was a 4-star high school recruit, went to USC. Sean, he was in the class of 2018.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back. And we're seeing the NCAA say no to Trinidad Chambliss and plenty of other players that are on their 6th or 7th season. This guy is going to be, as it says there, in his 9th year of college football, and NCAA is like, yeah, come on back. Here's your waiver. Come back and play another year.
I don't know what sense this makes. I don't understand I don't understand how they can change the circumstances. I tell you all the time, they move the goalposts. A guy wants to come back for a 6th year who went through the thing. We got a guy who's been on a bunch of schools. He's in his 9th year of college football, and he still gets to play. Listen, I remember him when he was getting recruited. Yeah. Don't know him, but I remember when he was getting recruited and talked about. I don't understand. So what's the protocol for this? How do we make this decision? If they're all sitting in a room, who make decisions like this? And we got two things on the table today. Trinidad Chambliss for the 6th year, Solomon, that guy, in his 9th year in college football. Well, I don't think Chambliss, no, he can't come back. Well, he's going to sue. Well, he can sue, but we're going to deny it. Doesn't matter. Well, what about the guy in his 9th year, Solomon? Well, it's biblical because he's playing his 9th year, the name Solomon. So that's that's got to be part and parcel. If this is part of the Lord kicking in and saying, I'm going to change you right when you open your mouth, it's going to come out. This is King Solomon. He is playing for a 9th year. In true segs, so tell me the logic of sitting, if you're sitting at the table making, we put it on the table, two things. One can't, the other you've approved. He's going on his 9th year. So what did he do? What is he, first of all, it's embarrassing for him. He should be ashamed of himself. I'm sorry to tell you this. It's shameful that he's going to walk in that locker room saying, I just milked the 9th year. And you wonder why some high school kids can't get recruited. He stole a scholarship.
Yep.
Stole a scholarship. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. The rules allow him, so he's going to keep milking it because he's obviously not going to play a down of football on Sundays, or he would already tried that. Okay, so he could milk it, and they're letting him. So he's playing within their rules. Yet, what are those rules? 9 years opposed to 6. One can't get in, one can. What is didn't Pavia want to come back another year, but they wouldn't let him? Wasn't there talk about him possibly? Yeah. And this is a 9th year. Who walks in and says, I want to play my 9th year? Dude, get on with your fucking life.
Yeah.
And NC2A, stop denying the kid who isn't getting any. That was his only scholarship offer, and now he doesn't have a scholarship offer because you let a guy play his 9th year football that is going to have grandkids by the time somebody else is playing. Hell, he's going to be 60 having grandkids by the time somebody else hyperbolic. You get my point.
Solomon will turn 26 in March.
Yeah, sorry. I don't care how old he is. This is 9 years. His eligibility's up. He's done. He's done. If you gave him 7 years to play for, he's done. 8 years. We're on a 9th year? Nah, buddy. You can't. Matter of fact, you should be embarrassed to say yes if you're him. You should have said, no, I take that back. I got to get on with my life. I'll go walk on an NFL free agent camp. If I don't make it, I'll get to work. I can't imagine he's making big money in NIL at Montana. Okay. So I just love football. Well, if you love it enough, go test it with the big boys. And I'm not putting it on him, but I kind of am. Yeah, I am. I am putting it on him. But I put on the NC2A for moving the goalposts again. This is an embarrassment and a horrible indictment on all of it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it again because I think it should just be how it is. Like, I think we need to you can get rid of red shirts. I don't care. You get 5 years. That's it. 5 years of playing college football. There's no exceptions. There's no injuries. If you are on the team. Now, yeah, if you're at BYU and you go away for a mission, you're not on the team. So you're not losing a year of eligibility. But if you're on the team and you get hurt, you get 5 years. That's it. Like,
see, because the BYU guys, a lot of times their eligibility doesn't start. They go on a mission before they start on campus. Exactly. Some do.
And that's fine.
Right.
But whenever you sign your letter of intent to go to USC or wherever it is, you have 5 years from that next season. You get 5 seasons. That's it. There's no way you can get a 6th. That's what I think it should be. We'll get rid of all this shit. We'll get rid of all these NCAA decisions. You get 5 years. You can play 5 years. You don't have to redshirt. We don't have to worry about the 9-game rule that they want to implement or the 4-game rule. You get 5 years to play college football, and then you get your ass out and you move on.
Segs, do you realize that we're going to have a guy playing college? We're going to have college football guys playing 9 games and then redshirting in the same year. And then we're going to have a guy playing his 9th year of college football when his eligibility should have been up a graduating class ago.
Right.
I'm talking about 4, but I'm talking about when he came in with, like, you come in 81, you graduate from high school in 85, or you come in 77, you graduate in 81. I mean, when he was in high school, guys that'll complete high school that were in elementary school are now going to be completing college while he's still in college. Huh?
And we just heard Carson Beck talk about how he doesn't have class anymore. All he does is play football. This guy hasn't had class for 6 years because he's got done with everything.
Remember on the day you had to carry 12 credit hours to be eligible. You had to have class, whether it's a graduate degree or you had to be in class. But now you can just be kind of do whatever you want. Oh yeah, I got to show up for practice while you're driving around in your Ferrari all day or your Lambo. But
I hope this dude's like a doctor or a veterinarian or
he should
something.
have 70. Listen, if he doesn't leave college with obviously his undergraduate degree, his master's degree, a doctorate, and whatever else, he should come out so decorated when it comes to academic decorations that he should be able to do anything. As a matter of fact, football would be just getting in the way of her. Come out and be an orthopedic surgeon. As many years you've gone through it, you should be doing your rotations while you're playing college football, according to this. So, nah, man, this is wrong. And Segs, this is gonna sound insensitive. At this point in time, I don't care what the circumstances are in your life. You don't get to play 9 years of college football. Sorry.
No.
Everybody goes through something. You just don't get to play 9 years.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, it makes too much sense. Just do 5 years and that's it. If you're hurt your 5th year and final year, sorry, that's life.
Oh well,
that's life.
Rehab it and go do what some of us had to do. Go to rehab it, not get drafted when you thought you were going to get drafted, and go make a team and play for 10 years. Sorry, I lived it. I have zero compassion for that shit because I went through it. And yeah, this is as Jared says, Jared M730. It's like Rodney Dangerfield and old, back to school, right? Come back and you're jumping off the high dive and doing your dive and doing it and getting massages and reading books and having somebody study for you and turning your dorm room into a suite at a Four Seasons hotel. So nah, can't happen. I don't care what his circumstances are. He could have gone away and came back right out of the grave and said, I'm back because I'm King Solomon to come back and play. No, 9 years is too much. 5 to play 4. Get out. Okay, gone. See ya. Jeez, drives me crazy. By the way, I made some big money last night betting.
Did you?
I took Kansas.
Did you?
To straight up to their home dogs, and they won.
Well, did you do it right before the game?
And I took the over
a little earlier when
I did it before
Peterson was playing. And
made the bet when he was playing. Made the bet when he was playing, and then I looked at it thinking in the first when I saw it, I'm like, "You're kidding me, right?" And they still took care of it, so I didn't have to change the bet, right? Played great basketball, and they've been playing really good basketball. Yep, first loss of the year for the Wildcats. And so I made that bet, good one, Segs. And then I went, and then I parlayed the over in another bet with an Ole Miss win. With a Kansas win, and then I threw in Indiana covering in their game last night, covering, and they did. And so I hit the individual and the parlay. So it was a really, really good night in college hoops, which I've always told you is my best betting time.
Yeah. College hoops is always fun to bet.
Every now and then,
there's so many games. There's so many different ways you can go with it. And Indiana beat Oregon last night.
Yeah,
but
Oregon.
You've been on multiple teams. I mean, a bunch of teams over your career. If you had a teammate like Darren Peterson, who has played, I think, in less than half of Kansas's games, comes in as the number 1 player in the country out of high school, odds to be the number 1 pick were really high coming into the season. And now he's barely playing. He's got little tiny injuries. I wouldn't even call them injuries. I think he's just hurting a little bit. And he's deciding, you know what, I'm good. I'm not going to play. And then last night he goes out, he warms up, he looks fine. If you watch,
there was no talk of him not playing going in.
Yeah, he looked fine. He goes through everything, and then, right before, he's got an upset tummy. He's got flu-like symptoms, is what his agent said. But he sits out of the game against number 1 ranked Arizona.
That's a pussy move. If he was just a little upset tummy.
If it was the flu, I don't care. Like, you get your ass out there and you give everything you got until you physically can't do it anymore. And if that's 5 minutes into the second half and you are just puking and you cannot stop and you got nothing left, fine. But to just say before the game, like, hey, you know what, guys, sorry, you're not going to give me tonight. I know it's the number 1 team. I know we're fighting for seeding. It's a big stretch coming up towards the end of the season. We get into the Big 12 tournament. But you know what? Sorry, I'm just going to sit this one out. Like, if I was a teammate, we'd have words.
Well, as a teammate, the first thing you think of is you chicken shit pussy. I'm just behind you. You're on your own. I don't know if I'm not calling him that, but that's what put anybody in that situation, because there is a difference between. I've watched guys that had no business playing finish because they were injured, and then I've watched guys who were hurt. Everybody's hurt once the season starts. Your hamstring's a little tired. You got the flu. Yeah, I don't even know how you go to a coach or your teammate. I'm a little. I got an upset stomach today. Well, we're playing Arizona. Shit, you should have an upset stomach. They're pretty good. They haven't been beat. Yeah, you should. They're the number one team in America. They're coming to kick our ass in our building. I understand the upset stomach. Take some Pepto-Bismol, lay on the table. We'll intravenously feed you some fluids and get your. You don't even have to come out for pregame warm-up. You're our best player. Be ready to play. Yeah, as a player, and I know the people have, that's Mr. Tough Guy. It's not a matter of Mr. Tough Guy, because I lived it. I saw it, the good and the bad. Me, when they say, well, what if his stomach was hurt? Well, guess what? Oh, well, playing number one team in the country, you're the best player. We're counting on you. It's not so much you. You're letting the other 11 guys down. And I don't know how you even have the balls to walk in and say, hey, fellas, I can't play.
Why? What's wrong? What happened?
I didn't sleep well last night. I ate breakfast and I felt like I was going to throw up. I got an upset stomach, Sags.
Wait, your stomach?
Wait, then I'd want to say, you got an ulcer?
Right.
Did somebody cut you open?
Blood?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you got an upset stomach. Come here with me. I got something for you.
Yeah.
Come here.
Take some fucking Tums and get out there.
Yeah, and get the fuck out there. That's exactly, no doubt. So that's a player. And then a leader, somebody bold, would address it before the game, say, or make a wisecrack after, man, we got this win and we didn't even need Pepto-Bismol. Start labeling him a nickname. Here's what happens, Sigs. He's so talented. Yeah, that's what I'm going to start calling him, Pepto.
That's what we got to start calling him.
Yeah, so talented, and you know my affinity for the Jayhawks. But Sigs, if your Bill Self happened to manage this and lead it, it's got to be a pain in the ass. It's an eye-rolling, I got a stomach ache. You better be throwing up your guts and be so dehydrated you're in danger. We got to take you to the hospital. If you're hurting, a lot of us feel sick before a big game for different reasons, and maybe you got the flu. Maybe it's just called the scared flu as talent, because people that are talented get scared too, Segs. So for me, it's a bad look. You lose leadership. No captain. I don't think he's the captain, but that's one where you say, no, I'm playing. And then if you can't get through and you're throwing up on the side, I understand that we take you in. Now we're beyond, we're in danger zone. But just a stomach ache, stop it. So I would have a problem with it. Then you go out there, and the truth is that probably helped them play better, Segs, because they didn't have to rely on him. And the guy's like, screw this, we're winning without our best player, which shows you we still can win without our player. Moving forward, he's too talented that somebody's not going to take him high. They will. But I got news for you. If it starts now, Segs, you think it quits in the NBA, which encourages this shit?
Oh, yeah. Never.
How much load management he going to get? Oh, man, stomach ache. What happened? I got to guard. I got to guard Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Oh, man, I understand why your stomach hurts. You don't want to get hung for 40.
It's some bad
40 on your ass, and then hangs 42 on the next guy the next night. So, yeah, no, I got a major problem with it. And if he doesn't play, they can't win the national title. But if he does play, it can't be a little soft, whiny fest because he's got an upset tummy or stomach.
Yeah, one of the I don't know if you saw the video last night. It was somebody at the game was sitting behind kind of the scores table and stuff, and ESPN, one of their official stat guys, was texting, and you could see the phone zooms in on his text, and he's talking about the situation with Darren Peterson, and his text reads, so he's sick, and he didn't tell anyone at practice, talking about Peterson. And then when it came up, Bill Self said, don't half-ass it if you're going to play, meaning in practice. And then Darren Peterson basically said, fuck it, I'm out for tonight.
So he got a little sensitive because Coach was on his ass too.
Can't
have you half-assed it. You got to play. See, this is going to be a problem for him moving forward.
I know he's really good, but
I don't care.
Give me Cameron Boozer. Give me AJ Dybasta from BYU. Give me the kid from North Carolina, Caleb Wilson. Give me, Keaton Wagler from Illinois, who's another freshman. I mean, give me those guys in the draft over this guy, because I need somebody that's going to go out there and play and give everything they got. And you know what? Darren Peterson is acting like a kind of a spoiled little bitch, basically.
Yeah.
And I would not want him on my team.
Segs, I'm telling you, these type of things become a problem. I would rather have a 7 offensive performer out of 10, a 7 with the balls of a daytime burglar that shows up and plays his ass off.
Everything he's got.
Than I would his skill set. Well, with the fortitude and the guts, it appears the guts and you know the guy with guts that'll show up no matter what, no matter how you feel, that'll play through it. I'd rather have that guy than the guy who is a great talent but runs from any sign of adversity or any sign of I'm not feeling well or I'm a little bit, that it's a malingerer, just kind of always hangs around. There's always something. I'm not going to win a lot of championships with that guy. And the NBA at the next level is going to have to look long and hard because that's a character DNA thing. You can't fix that, Segs. You can't fix that. You either got that or you don't. And if a guy's missing games because he's upset that the coach talked to him or he's got a little bit of an upset stomach, can you imagine going there and tell 23 that in Chicago? He might have punched him in the face and and said, don't come back here. That's what he would have done. So to me, that's not old school tough. That's just called being an athlete that knows how to grind. And he thinks his scoring is going to take him, and he will. He'll get paid and he'll be fine. But I can already tell you that this is somebody who wants out as opposed to wants in, if that makes sense. And he's a great talent.
Well,
I got a problem with it.
Kansas beating the Wildcats of Arizona last night should put the team who deserves to be on the top of the AP poll up there on next Monday. And
it's going to happen. You guys will leapfrog. Well, it's not even leapfrog. You jumped to one because, I mean, Arizona. And that's a tough place for anybody to go play. Getting beat at Allen Fieldhouse on the road, one or not.
But Arizona,
inevitably was going to happen, Segs.
Yeah, Arizona has not played a tough schedule at all, really since the start of December. And now they have a tough stretch that started with Kansas last night. And you lose your first game. I think Arizona, by time we're done, I wonder if we're talking about Arizona as a possible 2 seed instead of a 1 seed in the NCAA.
Could happen when the battle test starts. The battle test has started right now, Seg. Yes, no doubt. And they got a taste of it because Kansas has been playing really well.
Yep. And then real quick before we get out of here, something that happened, North Carolina, Duke, great game. If you saw it, Seth Tribble hits the 3 to win. Bill Belichick at the game with Jordan Hudson, who we've talked about multiple times. And there she is wearing a shirt that has to do that is tied to the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, who we talked about earlier, didn't make the Hall of Fame. The Orchids of Asia Day Spa. That was the massage parlor that Robert Kraft went to down there. I think it was in Tampa, somewhere in Florida, that he was getting the old rub and tug done to him. And he was part of that prostitution sting that happened down there. And here she is with Bill Belichick standing right next to her, wearing the sweatshirt of the massage parlor.
Catty. Talk about catty. And
for Bill to let it happen, like either she wears the pants completely and she don't give a fuck what he says.
Well, she obviously wears the shirt.
Or she is definitely wearing the shirt. Or he says like, hey, go ahead. I don't give a shit.
Listen, when you're getting dressed to leave, regardless of all the stuff that happened on there, they had a lot of good years in New England together, right? Yeah. And now it's obviously a little bit it's a strained relationship, needless to say.
Yeah, I'd say strained.
Happens a lot in sports. Works. Yeah, but both are Hall of Famers, both did some great things. This grudge, we'll put it this way, if Kraft had a vote for the Hall of Fame, it ain't going to be Bill. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, it seems so catty. I mean, it's funny, but you're sitting with the GOAT or standing with him. You wear the shirt that sends the message to the guy that you're no longer working for that got in trouble for it. I mean, dude, could it be more of how subtle is this? Oh, it's as subtle as a sledgehammer to the face while I'm staring right at you. I mean, good gracious. It's catty, grudge type. If you're Bill, don't you like the look on his face there says, what the hell is my girl doing? You know, he's got that look like, I just noticed it on the big screen. What are you doing? But if she had a jacket on, she couldn't wait to take that jacket off to show that T-shirt, could she say? So feels like it's deeply catty, and that this won't be the last you hear of this back and forth battle, needless to say.
Well, and it's like she wasn't even really around. I don't know if she was at all during the New England
years.
Dude,
she wasn't old enough to have a driver's license when this was going on. Okay.
And that's what makes me think Bill's just like, yeah, go ahead. Like she read something.
I say it all the
Let me
time.
have fun with it. And there
You know
he
how
is.
hard how hard it is, Segs, for a guy that I have such admiration for as a coach, right? I do for Belichick. But to see how things have just, I don't want to say fallen apart, but feel on the surface like, I feel like Bill's an influencer now. Then we got to babysit.
Basically.
And it's not even what's coming and what's next and who they're mad at and what's going to happen and what's the next T-shirt or video and what video is going viral and what game are they going to. It's like, and I'm not saying all influencers like that, but you know that feeling we talk about influencers because they wear a shirt or they're influencing a product, or Sydney Sweeney with the jeans. It's like, good. I mean, it's Bill, and like every time I turn around, she's wearing high boots on the field and she's the GM on the at North Carolina, and they're not winning, and Bill's doing this and they're not doing this, and coaches notice he's not as committed, or he is. I mean, Segs, I feel like we're talking that this is social media. And of all the coaches in the history of sports said, Sean, what's one that'll never dabble in social media? I'd have pointed to him.
Yeah.
And then I see this shirt thinking, didn't you see what your lady put on when she walked out of the house? It's baffling to me, Segs. And there's catty and then there's catty. And this is really, really catty and grudge-like.
I don't know exactly how old Bill Belichick is. I'd say in his mid-70s, somewhere in there. Somewhere in that range, mid-70s. Sean, she's 24 years old. She's 2 years younger than Solomon Tuilapupu or whatever his name is. And she's dating
that guy.
Bill
9 years
Belichick.
of college ball.
Yeah.
What's the bigger joke? The logo on her shirt or playing 9 years of college football? Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, hey, when you're 75 and I guess a 24-year-old wants to go along for the ride, pun intended, like sometimes you let her do what she wants. Just
sometimes
to keep
experience matters, Stiggs. Okay.
Yep.
Experience sometimes matters.
And she's giving
he loves
him
her
experiences that he hasn't had in 50 years. So
you guys, listen, you don't have any compassion or you don't care about
kudos to Bill.
Oh, yeah. See, the same
That's
thing that people will hate. The rest of the fellas are saying, you cool bastard, you're dating somebody 24 and you're 70. Man, you pulled that one off. There's a little bit of age gap there, Six. But I don't appreciate is your lack of compassion. You hate on a guy who's playing college football for 9 years, which is I can't believe it. You hate on Klint Kubiak. I don't know why I said that, but it just sounded good.
Yeah, why not?
And then you hate on this relationship, Sakes. This relationship is based on one solid foundation that will take you everywhere you need to go. The foundation of love, Sakes.
If I'm
The
75
foundation of love.
and for some reason my wife is no longer around and I have a 24-year-old,
You're not going to kill her, are you, Sakes?
No, not yet. At least.
Start to look like God. You know, if she's no longer around. You know, take it. Okay, so we're just talking about maybe.
I was going to take that a dark place, and I just left it alone. We're going to just leave that alone. Yeah. No.
So she's not there, and you're 75. And
she wants to wear a fucking
yeah.
sweatshirt that says whatever
You don't care
on it. And you know what? If I'm 75 and she's 24, and
so you're past the point of it. At that point, you're just like, fuck it, right? You're just like,
yeah, I got.
What are they going to do? Take my scholarship away? Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
I've lived my
you get
life.
to a point like, what are you going to do? I'm not going to have a show. You're going to take a Hall of Fame vote from me. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to,
the crazy part is
I've accomplished enough. Screw you guys.
The crazy part is that Bill's still coaching at North Carolina. It's not like he just wanted to go to Duke, North Carolina, and here's this 24-year-old, chick with him that she's wearing this. No, he coaches at North Carolina.
Give me a trainer. I need some Gatorade. She comes running out with a tray. No, not you. You're about to be my wife. Get your ass back over there. You're younger than some of the players in this team. Yeah, I don't know how that dynamic works there other than what we've seen, but I'd like to see it on a day-to-day basis in the building. It's almost like there's an NDA that nobody in the building's allowed to talk about.
Right.
What goes,
Probably.
You just don't. And Bill's been known that assistant coaches don't talk in the end. When Bill was doing it, he was the voice of the building. It started and ended with him. But Segs, it's disappointing as we end the show. It is the fact that they're faith-based on love, Bill, and what's her name again?
Jordan.
Mrs. Jordan.
Hudson.
Bill and Jordan are faith-based, and it's love. They built this foundation on love, and you've completely crumbled it like it's hay that just boom, sticks that they just break, that they were built in sand. You've disrupted what appears to be a loving, peaceful, joyful, non-grudge holding relationship. It's based on love, Segs, and that's my story. And I'm thinking it has nothing to do with anything else but love.
Well, I'm sure nothing to do with the 24-year-old competitive cheerleader who has a body that is just insane. It's just love. They just, they have great conversations.
Yes.
They just cuddle all the time.
Hey, honey, let's talk about the movie Gone with the Wind. I don't want to be gone with the wind. I like it a calm day. No, it was a movie. Oh,
that movie was.
Did you see Caddyshack? No, what the hell's that? Yeah.
70 years before I was born.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Right. As our guy, one time, our guy, BB out of Boston, our good buddy that we work with. As he one time said, hey, Led Zeppelin, and he said, who? I don't know him. Who's he? Yeah. Oh, you mean the band? Yeah. So there you go. Maybe they just love each other, Segs. I love it.
Shit.
I love it.
All right. Well, it's time to go. Tomorrow we'll hit on.
The show's just getting great now.
It really is.
Racy shit.
It really
I'm
is.
all in. Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll jump more into football. We can start looking ahead to the offseason and what dates are impactful for NFL teams. Baseball started. Sean, you talked about Skubal and Framber Valdez in Detroit. Well, just about 45 minutes ago, they were joined by Justin Verlander. He is joining the Detroit Tigers on a
they're cornering the market, buying up all the real estate, huh?
Yeah.
I like
Tigers out here doing some stuff in a shitty AL
Fitting
Central.
that Justin Verlander ends it there.
Yeah.
Ends his career. They're fitting, no doubt about it.
I think it makes sense. So we'll talk some baseball tomorrow, looking college basketball. We got everything we could talk about. And then NBA, we didn't even get to. There's a huge fight last night. We got to talk about that. The Pistons and the Hornets.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some punches thrown. I swear, everywhere I look, everywhere I go, I've seen so many basketball games this year between college. I don't watch a lot of NBA, and then the high school ranks between boys and girls, with my daughter being a high school player now. I see fights everywhere. You just get on Twitter, there's like high school girls just beating the hell out of each other on the court
regularly.
It's insane right now in basketball that it's just
parents will be beating on each other too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy. We had an incident the other night at my school's high school varsity game where a girl, they started punching each other, and then here comes two mamas running on the court, and it was just like,
don't hit my girl, man. That's fight words. The moms come out there, and when moms come out on the court, it's on.
Yeah.
And Segs, I will end with this. A lot of good stuff that we'll continue to cover throughout the week is Bill Belichick's a trophy husband or a trophy boyfriend or fiance. What is he? Is a fiance or is a husband?
I don't know. I don't know if they're engaged or what they are.
See, she went to get him because Bill's the trophy, right?
Bill is the trophy.
There you go.
But she's also the trophy because she's 24 and good looking. So they're trophying each
overrated, other. Underrated, properly rated.
Well, how's she rated?
I'm going by what you just said. Well, she's good looking. Well, you think that she got a body?
I would say she's.
I'm going by most people think she's attractive. How's that?
Yeah, I'd give her an 8. Let's say that 8.5.
Overrated, underrated. There. She's not underrated.
8. Not underrated. No.
We're just talking about the physical presence, just the look.
Yeah. I think she's a good-looking girl.
Solid
7.5, 8.
Solid 7.5, 8. Yeah, probably not my style, but 7.5. I can see 24 the appeal for somebody 9.
I don't have the energy for a 24-year-old.
Well,
I'd say that now.
We could fix that, Segs. I mean, I'm not going to fix it. You can fix it.
It's time to go. I don't know where that's going. It's time to leave. It's time to get off this show.
Hell. Get me off this show. I'm going to go play or golf or something.
Oh, shit. It's actually getting nice out, so let's go. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Go to YouTube, like and subscribe at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered. Myself at Adam G. Sayer. Thanks to Bailey and Laura as always. Thank you all our listeners. Be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here for bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.